Welcome, dear friends, to Kardec Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with one more spirit of truth. And today we're going to talk about the topic that we all have been dreaming for, tranquility. Who doesn't dream of tranquility, right? Peace, harmony, calmness. Luiz today comes to tell us more, but he's not going to sugarcoat it. He's going to empower us to reach it. He's going to empower us to achieve it. The spirit of truth is in several messages of the Spiritist literature since Kardec's time. And when Emmanuel coordinated the effort through Chico, Xavier, and Waldo Vieira to bring these messages from several spirits in 1961, 60 years ago, the goal was to pay a tribute as well to the gospel, to several messages. Messages that bring the truth, that bring the truth, and the truth is so important. When we talk about duty, for example, before life, we get to know that honesty is center stage. It's in the book by Leon Denis, After Death. But for us, it makes sense that when we know the truth, we can transform our lives. Often, we are stagnated at some points in our lives because we are ignoring the truth or despising the truth. How so? Sometimes we have a blind spot. Like a car, there is a blind spot. And the tricky part is to find a blind spot. And you may ask, how do I find my blind spot? By being with people. In the relationships that we have, what is not seen by us is seen by others. So that's why before we dismiss people's take about us, we should think, where do people feel it in me? Sometimes it's not about this life, it's about previous lives. It happens in the relationships between parents and children. It's unspoken, it's felt. It's a vibration that doesn't match. We talk about it as chemistry amongst people, right? But we're going to see that sometimes the person I was some other life is recognized by somebody, even unconsciously, and they start feeling that we are somebody else. And we may claim, but I'm not that person they think I am. Probably not in the full force that they feel it, but it's a part of me that is still there. So what do I do? Do I believe what people say about me? No, that's not what we're saying. We're just saying by allowing other people's input to be reason filtered for our own benefit, we will achieve sooner or later the knowledge about ourselves. The blind spots will disappear. Today, Luiz will be inspired, and I say will be in the sense as if he's going to write right now for us, right? Inspired in chapter 25 of the Gospel according to Spiritism. Chapter 25 is so beautiful. Seek and you shall find. This power within ourselves to seek tranquility, to seek happiness, to seek the good, to seek tranquility, to seek health, and we shall find. What we emit is going to come back to us. Chapter 9, Seek and You Shall Find. Kardec quotes a passage from Jesus as in Matthew chapter 10, verses 9 to 15. Do not fret for the possession of gold or silver or any other coins in your purse. Do not prepare a bag for your journey, or two cloaks or shoes or staff, for those who work deserve to be fed. Do you get weary because of your ambitions? There are people who do not sleep. There are people who not only they do not sleep, but they torment others as well. We need to ask ourselves because we want tranquility, and the question is, are we cultivating tranquility? Right? Are we? Do we get too concerned about achievements, material achievements? Question: how are we going to achieve tranquility then? Andre Luiz, inspired in that statement by Jesus, he comes and says in 10 points how we achieve tranquility, how you and I can achieve tranquility. You want to write it down? First and foremost, he says, number one, start the day with the light of prayer. God's love never fails. First step towards tranquility, start the day with a prayer. Do you pray when you wake up? And you may say, oh, but I wake up late. But you wake up, right? It's not about stopping to pray because you can pray walking, you can pray driving. You don't need to close your eyes. Yes, you can eat and pray. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist monk who has several books, has such wisdom that goes hand in hand with the Christ consciousness. He says to all of us, walk in meditation. We can practice our daily mindfulness when we eat, when we walk, breathing and putting consciousness in our movements. Right now, I'm moving my hands and I know that I'm moving my hands. I'm not doing this automatically. I'm thinking of moving and changing the. Yes, if you're listening to this, visualize myself just rolling my hands and waving it in the air. It's a way for us to practice mind over matter. When we want to start a day with a prayer, open your eyes, say, thank God. You don't need even to wake up, to stand up. You open your eyes, say, breathe in and say, thank you, God. Breathing out. Thank you, God. 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 And that's it. Thank you, God, for another day, the light of prayer. He says, light of prayer. Now remember, Andre Luiz is talking as a spirit who can see things how they happen here in the material realm. In the book Nosso Lar, the messengers, the books in general, the whole series of Andre Luiz, he shows to us how things really work in two realms. Andre Luiz teaches us how to use the bifocal lenses so we can see here close in material realm and farther away in the spiritual, because you know that what we're doing here, sooner or later, it's practice It's experience that is going to be archived one day, and we're going to continue in many lives, many planets. As in a previous message, one life is one episode, one reincarnation. If you think of yourself as a series, one episode, this life. We need prayer to make sure that we wake up and use that time wisely. Number two, accept any difficulty without arguing, complaining. Today is the best time to do the best. Today is the time to do the best. This sentence, accept any difficulty without complaining or arguing, it reminds us of a book by Tara Brach, the Buddhist psychologist who lives in Washington, D.C. Radical acceptance. She talks about how important it is for us not to resist the challenges. It's like a student. If you go to school, why do we go to school? To be disciplined, to be instructed, to learn. So I can't complain when I sit down and the teacher says, open your book. Well, it's expected that we should do so, right? Test time, can't argue because we're supposed to do it. On earth, right now, our time is trials and atonements. Nobody prepares us for this but Spiritism. Because as parents, we need, it's very important, that we find a way to help our children from the get go, telling them that life is about overcoming your own limits. It's about surpassing them. It's about tests, exam time. Three, work with joy. The lazy person, even when they show themselves on a pedestal of solid gold, they are sinking corpse. Think about it. If I don't work with joy, I'm dead. Because joy of living is joy of living. The joy of working. So I work with joy. How many people want to have a job? They can't. They're sick. The ones who are discarnated not necessarily have a job. Remember Andrea Luiz? He was a physician. He discarnated. He wanted to work, and they said, but here you're not a physician. He had to start over. So, working with joy is the secret. Number four, do the good as much as you can. So, number one, start with a prayer. Two, don't resist to difficulties, accept them without complaining. Work with joy and do the good as much as you can. Each individual transits amongst its own creations. We want tranquility, but then I call, oh, and then I start gossiping, and then I hang up, and I say, oh, I want tranquility. How? And then I call people to say, to give orders that will hurt people. How can I have tranquility? No way. So if I don't do the good as much as I can during the day, I will not be able to achieve the tranquility that I want. Number five, value time, value the minutes. Everything comes back except for lost time. Number 6, learn to obey in the worship of your own obligations. Learn to obey in the worship of your own obligations. If you do not believe in discipline, watch a car without its brakes. So, do you believe in discipline? Hmm? Yes, it's so good to fulfill our duties and be free. Free in the sense, because we're never going to be free, because be useful all the time is the way to go. Yeah, but disciplining ourselves. Let's say right now I want to watch a program, but I have the commitment here with you. Imagine if I come here, I don't come. I will miss it because it's a learning experience for me, right? How am I going to achieve tranquility if I don't fulfill that duty of the heart? Correct? So learn to obey in worship for obligations. Enjoy fulfilling the duties. It's so good when you clean your house and everything is in place. Of course, it's work, but better than not making that effort and having everything unclean and disorganized. Number 7, this one you guys are going to love it. To achieve tranquility, we need to appreciate simplicity. Luxury is the mausoleum of those who approach death. I remember watching a program, I think it was the Home Edit, long time ago, last year, at Netflix, and very interesting program. But I remember when they were visiting the house of somebody who was famous. I don't remember who that person was. The person was in fashion or something. And then the closet was so packed. They needed to help. The woman needed help to organize it and make more room. And at some point, the owner of everything said, I treat these shoes, my things, as if they were my children. We need a truth. Today, you and I cannot make that mistake. She can because she doesn't know. But you and I know. It's not beautiful. I know to the world that it is beautiful, right? Oh, I have 5,000 pairs of shoes. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. No. But in the eyes of God, 5,000 people, they lack shoes because we own them. That's how Spiritism explains. Everything extra that you have is missing for somebody else. So appreciate simplicity. Appreciate it. It feels so good. It feels so good. Chico Xavier lived in simplicity. He received so much donation that he could have had a huge house, many things. He never did that. But you and I, when we receive our payments, our income, we think it's only for us. Why do we have that in mind? That God is going to give us something so we keep it for ourselves alone and not help other people. And sometimes it's not about the homeless, it's about an uncle or a grandmother, grandfather, or a cousin who needs financial help. And we could extend a hand, but we don't because we don't see them in the streets yet. But why wait? Why not find a way kindly without humiliating anybody and thinking that everything that we have could also be somebody else's? Appreciate simplicity in eating, in sleeping, even in entertainment, because some people are so used, accustomed to drinking alcohol, going crazy during parties, that they don't know how to enjoy a gathering without alcohol. That's not simplicity. Simplicity without food, without alcohol, just people. Oh, but if there is no food, but if there is no drink, and then we start putting conditions, becomes very complicated, not simple. Go to the core of our being spirits, living on earth, free of all these decorations, the garments of life, because the main garment is inside of our hearts. Number 8, forgive without conditions. Being angry or irritated is the best way of losing. Wow, forgive without conditions. How can I feel calm and tranquil when I'm holding grudges? Let us set ourselves free for God's sakes. Yes, it's their problem, not ours. And as Jesus said, we can't expect that people are going to treat us the way we want them to treat us, right? Number 9, use kindness, but especially within your own house. Try assisting your family members as you treat your guests. So be kind, especially at home. And it feels so good when we want to treat people kindly. It's a dream to do it and they accept it because you want to treat them kindly. Sometimes they don't accept it. Be kind. Easy? Probably not, because if we hold grudges, if we are always angry, irritated, then it's going to be hard. But if we do the good as much as we can, be kind is just around the corner. Number 10, in favor of your own peace, keep faithfulness to yourself. Remember that on the day of Calvary, the masses applauded the triumphant cause of the crucifiers, but the Christ, lonely and vanquished, was the cause of God. Be faithful to yourself in the sense you came with a reincarnatory plan. I came with a reincarnatory plan that is different from my family members, relatives, friends, colleagues. So I can't do things because people do it. Or I can't not do things because people are not doing them. Because I need to be faithful to my own reality. If everybody's having 10 kids, that doesn't mean I have to have 10 kids. I can have 20. I can have 5 or none. But when I start changing my reincarnatory plan, because we're following people's directions in the sense of like, if they do it, I do it. If they don't, I don't. Then we're not faithful to our divine contract. So, dear friends, as we're meditating with Andre Luiz on a beautiful 10-point recipe for tranquility, you and I are being asked to exercise it. You can have 2 exercises. Either you choose one of the things we shared here that Andre Luiz said, or let us focus on practicing this. Be faithful to yourself What does that mean? In the next 24 hours, we're going to think about our divine contract. And I'll write it down. I'll write it down to reinforce it. So important. Okay? It's very important that we reinforce it. Okay? So here we have it. We're going to practice the following. 1. Choose one of the key points for tranquility, one of the 10 that Andrea Luiz says, or, it's up to you. Let us practice thinking and feeling about our divine, and I'll put it in capital letters, divine contract, which means our reincarnatory plan. Thinking of that will lead us into what? Will lead us into being faithful to ourselves, to the divine in us. This is the exercise for us in the next 24 hours. Isn't that good? To practice tranquility. To practice tranquility. You and I are being invited to be with Andrea Luiz, with his beautiful smile, his invitation, so we can practice the cultivation of tranquility. And I will summarize for those who came along at this point. Number 1, start the day with a prayer. Number 2, accept any difficulty without arguing. Number 3, work with joy. Work with joy. 4, do the good as much as you can. Number 5, value the minutes of your life. Number 6, learn to obey in the worship of your own obligations. Number 7, appreciate simplicity. Number 8, forgive without conditions. Number 9, use kindness, but especially within your own house. Number 10, in favor of your peace, keep faithfulness to yourself. Yeah, this is it for tranquility. Visualize that sooner or later on earth, we're going to achieve this. We can almost feel the breeze of tranquility, right? Let us then make an extra effort and in the next 24 hours, focus on cultivating tranquility, knowing that inside of us, we have a divine contract to achieve a better life. Then let's do the good as much as we can, right? Thank you, friends, for being here with us at Cardiac Radio. One more time in the Spirit of Truth moment here, when we feel the good stimulating us to do the good. Thank you, friends. See you tomorrow, God willing.